Ever wondered what the world of Scarface would be like if Tony Montana survived his final shootout? But let's just say it will make an awesome sequel. Hello, my name is Joshua, and this is Beyond the End, where we delve into alternative endings of films, TV shows, games, and books. Today, we'll be delving into Scarface 1983. As you can see from the background, it's red, similar colors of Scarface. I guess when you look at the posters and stuff, I know it's like white and red, but red kind of stands out more. In future, I want to try do the kind of thematic colors of whatever the game or film is. Yeah. Scarface gave us one of the most iconic finales in movie history. But what if things went differently? What if Tony Montana actually survived the legendary shootout? Today we're diving deep into the 1980s drug world and exploring 3 alternative endings that will blow your mind. Stick around to find out how the history of the world could have changed the survival of Tony Montana. Also, before we begin, make sure you guys like and subscribe so I can make more content just like this. Now, without further ado, let's begin. Ending 1. Tony escapes to a different country. So let's say Tony escapes by pure luck. He will need to still evade Alejandro Sosa's assassins and the Miami Police Department, who will be hot on his tail. Where would a wanted drug kingpin escape to in the 1980s? Central South America, of course. Like what the real-life drug lords did in the 80s, such as Pablo Escobar.
Don Pablo Escobar. Don Pablo Escobar.
They try keeping their heads down whilst bribing authorities to keep their presence and businesses hush-hush.
Que ni siquiera es capaz de esconder su mercancía, su contrabando.
Pena, señor Escobar, pero es que nosotros no somos la policía de Medellín que se gana una mierda a la semana.
Para Carlitos, su hijo. ¿Cree pues que le gustaría tener un televisor en el cuarto?
Tony would likely do the same. Additionally, many countries didn't have tough extradition laws, like Ecuador, Paraguay, and Cuba, meaning Tony would unlikely get arrested and deported for the crimes he did in the US. Tony would fit right into the scene, living on the run, rebuilding his empire from the shadows. But here's the catch. He's constantly on the move, looking over his shoulder for both the DEA and rival cartels. His dream of power crumbles as paranoia once again takes over. Then he's back to square one. Or even worse, if he decides to go head-to-head with Escobar, or the film's antagonistic equivalent. Tony, who is coming from a very weak place with no assets, no loyal family, no army, he has no chance. Even if Tony was able to compete, because we fully know he won't just simply hide. When his business will eventually go global, that'll bring down a whole new set of issues, including reintroducing his old enemies. So really is a wonder, how long can he actually survive hiding with his circumstances? Ending number 2. Tony goes to prison. Tony survives but realizes there's nothing to fight for anymore. There's nothing to prove. Owning the world is meaningless and it only brings sadness and destruction. So he surrenders and goes to prison. Well, whether he decided to run or hide, with no more protection and assets, the chances of him being arrested or assassinated would have been super high anyway. So going to prison may have been his best bet. There's a slightly higher chance of survival getting shivved in a prison cell than, say, getting car bombed. So choose your poison wisely. The issue with Tony and imprisonment is that his trial would likely be publicized. His name will be tarnished and defamed to many across the world. For someone so hell-bent on owning the world, it would be sad to see it turn against you and forget about you as you rot in your cell for the next 50 years. So it's unlikely he'll take this approach. Also, another downside to this alternative ending is that it won't be as action-packed as the others. It will be 50% set in a courtroom and 50% set in a prison cell. That's of course if he chooses not to escape, which he probably would. kind of reminds me of another film that should not have been in this format.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
His flashy, fast-paced lifestyle in Ashes, now coupled up in a cell with thousands of other inmates who were also taken down during the war on drugs in the 80s. A sad but deserving ending. I mean, what would be cool is if there is like a breakout scene, someone comes in and breaks him out of jail and gets him out. But if you've seen Scarface, you know that he pretty much loses all of his friends by the end of the film. So yeah, that ain't happening. Alternative ending number 3. Tony rebuilds an empire. You guys got to remember, this is the 80s. The film was shot in the 80s. Back then, nothing hit as good as a legendary comeback sequel. And that's what this ending has. The 2006 Scarface video game did this pretty well. That had you hitting back straight away. You literally just spin around and shoot Skull the Assassin from the get-go. You don't even give him a chance to shoot you. Just say he didn't even get downed and he just Robocopped his way out there, guns blazing, loses his 5-star wanted level and gets out of Dodge. Great. The two things on his lips are vengeance and it's time to build. Well, sorry Tony, it's not going to be that easy because one word, the cartels. Similar to the first alternative ending, Tony will always have power struggle issues with the likes of Medellin and Cali cartel, or their fictional alternatives. If Tony was to wait and outlive these cartels, other bigger cartels will eat them up and take their place.
You work for me? We take this town by the balls.
I'm with you, Tony, if you need me, man.
But like the video game, if Tony decides to team up with these cartels and some big players such as Pablo Escobar or the film's copycat version, this would likely have ended up a better result, especially if Tony dropped his coke habits and recognized his past mistakes.
I need you, hermano. You asshole, Antonio. You're an asshole, you know why? You don't listen, pendejo. Not even to yourself.
With a couple of persuasive moves, he can get assistance on getting revenge on Alejandro Sosa. Happy ending, right? Not really. Tony's original dream of running Miami is far out of reach. It would just be another cog in a much bigger wheel now. And either way, no matter how powerful you are, your reign will come to an end. Just like Pablo Escobar and the many other cartel leaders of that era, and the future. And for Tony Montana, I don't think he'll get a third chance, to be honest. So there you have it, 3 alternate endings where Tony Montana survives within the harsh reality of the 1980s drug world. In terms of best ending, me personally, I prefer the first version, the first alternate ending, because I guess it just gives a bit more of a chance of like expansion. You know, you get to see more of the world, adds a bit more of a survival aspect as well, which is always pretty fun and tense. Going from the high life to the more, well, you know, crazy hiding from the DEA, and, you know, it could be really intense. You know, you can add in, you know, undercover agents, all of that stuff, you know, so it has that kind of Rambo vibe to it, but with the Scarface vibe, I think would look really cool. Comment below with what endings you guys prefer, or whether you have other ideas on the fate of Tony if he was given a second chance. Also comment what film, video game, or book I should do next. Please like and subscribe because I've got loads of ideas that I want to do. Eventually I would love to kind of branch out of media as well, so go more into like alternative histories or alternative anything, methods of doing things, I don't know, you know, but just alternate anything. So yeah, it'd be great if you guys can like and subscribe so we can keep this going. All right, see ya.